from Bexhill-on-Sea tipped us off about the appearance of the word 14 years earlier in the sitcom Father's Day.
Ouch!
Just a minute, what is going on?
This Durbrain won't get.
Why should this Durbrain git?
I don't want him here.
That's
Even
it.
so, you don't...
Well, Peter Spence, as the writer of that sitcom, you could soon be responsible for the earliest Durbrain in the dictionary.
That's 1983, isn't it? So, yes, that is going back. But it was in currency before that. I certainly didn't invent it.
To get the phrase into the dictionary, ideally we'd have printed evidence. They do take tape, but if you had anything printed...
I've got the original post-production script. That's the scene that we've just seen.
Excellent. Now, how did you know how to spell it?
I didn't, and I was doing it purely on sound. It's supposed to represent the noise that the school kid makes when he doesn't know the answer to the teacher's question. Everybody else does. So he sort of sits there and goes, duh. And then all the other kids pipe up and say, well, duh, brain, duh. And they stick their tongue in the, here and there, make a face. And I think they sort of tap their chins or something like that, was what was happening in those days.
Well, thank you very much. I shall personally deliver this script to Oxford. The OED team are definitely going to be put under pressure. I have Durbrain from 1983 and a new definition of the word normal. But what about going bananas? Now there's a phrase which didn't start life as an official medical diagnosis. Or at least, I hope it didn't. The OED actually had no idea where it came from. So they asked us to ask you. The banana itself is, of course, preposterous. Its shape is faintly phallic, its colour is ludicrous, and its name sounds strangely infantile. The word banana is thought to come from the Arabic word for finger. It was Arab traders who, they think, first took the banana to West Africa, where it was encountered by European explorers who kept its name. Oh, no offence. But none of this explains why to go bananas means, as the OED has it, to go crazy, mad or wild with excitement, anger, frustration, etc. You certainly did your best to peel back the skin of this bizarre phrase. I have a rendezvous with word hunter Liz Dignan, who is convinced the phrase to go bananas has its origins in the 1920s. You wrote to us with a theory about bananas. What was that?
It goes back to the many years that I spent teaching in secondary schools. We had a particular schools programme made by the BBC, and it included a very, very short clip of this amazing woman, Josephine Baker. Very, very short, black and white, no sound, and it showed her dancing wearing little more than a miniskirt composed of the bananas. This particular clip always caught the attention of my pupils.
Now, I know you don't have any written evidence, but you are a historian, and I will trust you as a historian. How likely do you think it is that the phrase going bananas began with Josephine Baker?
I couldn't say hand on heart, but I think it's very interesting that you have the link with somebody dancing in a crazy fashion and wearing bananas.
But do the frenzied dance movements of the Black Venus prove the etymology of going bananas? I'm not so sure. Given her fame, you might expect some written evidence. Mind you, an extra factor is that the dictionary cites being bananas as sexually perverted or degenerate in American slang for 1935. Josephine Baker was American and pretty raunchy, so you never know. Word hunter David Bettridge has a completely different theory. He thinks going bananas dates back to the days of rationing in 1947.
There was a flurry of boys around one particular lad, and of course everybody in the playground went over to see what was going on. With any luck there was a fight, but there wasn't. The boy standing in the middle of the group had got a banana. He got it peeled back and was selling slices for threepence a slice, which was quite a lot of money. You know, threepence a week pocket money in those days would have been not unreasonable. I think it was a lick of a skim for a penny or a halfpenny. I can't quite remember the details, but I certainly remember him offering licks of the skin. and kids having the licks of the skin. We were all absolutely went bananas to see the bananas. OK?
Well, no, Mr. Bettridge. It's not going to make it into the dictionary. You didn't write it down. And hippie word hunter Lindsay Eck from Texas says he remembers people smoking bananas to get high. The truth is, the quibbly OED probably won't accept any of these theories without corroborative evidence. But what will impress them is our anti-dating. Their earliest citation for going bananas at the moment is 1968. Word hunter Fred Shapiro trumped that with a quote from 11 years earlier. It's from the 1957 cartoon strip Fearless Fosdick. We heard the police broadcast, "They say you're bananas." But best of all, sent in by Nick Pashley, was a song. I really hope the OED takes this. But Not For Me was written by George and Ira Gershwin in 1930. The problem is, it doesn't really sound like bananas meaning madness. I mean, if the OED accept it, that'll be a 38-year anti-dating. That would be brilliant. I think they might say the sense of bananas here is nonsense, but then they might accept a whole new meaning for bananas. Either way, that would be good news. It's the moment of truth. Time for me to sharpen up. I've been summoned by the OED panel, the gatekeepers of the great book itself. I'm about to face our top team from the dictionary. They've been casting a judicial eye over all the mad word anti-datings you've submitted. Surely we'll rewrite the dictionary with some of them.
So,
they say you're bananas, yeah.
That keeps him from going bonkers.
That's to go bonkers. They're the best to go bonkers, aren't they? There isn't a particular number of sandwiches that make a picnic.
No, so it suddenly starts getting more creative.
But it's not going to be easy. So how have we done?
Rather well, I think. We like your antidatings for bonkers, Durbrain from the sitcom, and the lovely Lenny Henry example from the Michael Jackson pastiche of One Sandwich Short of a Picnic.
Well, great. How have we done with bananas?
And our first quote at the moment is 1968, so this takes it back quite a long way, doesn't it?
Yeah, and
The cartoon is fine. What about the song?
We're not happy at all about Gershwin. It doesn't really mean quite the right thing.
What does it mean?
Nonsense.
Oh, they're very close. Nonsense, craziness.
Nonsense and crazy are completely different things. Gershwin just needed a rhyme for Pollyannas. Nonsense seems to fit the context best.
But it's an interesting example of perhaps a slightly different sense that perhaps we ought to be monitoring when we do revise the whole entry for banana.
Now I must fulfil my promise to Joe Brand. Time to hit them with the big one. Let me draw your attention to one of the definitions you have under the dictionary for normal. Unimpaired, that's a bit opinionated. In these politically correct times, can the dictionary really be seen to rule what's an impairment and what isn't?
There are normals who are contrasted with people who, in the language, are regarded as not normal.
Well, Joe Brand went to talk to a group of psychiatric patients. They wanted us to give this to you.
Thank you. Could also be described as the living dead does not dare express over-the-top displays of emotions in case they might be seen to be mad. Plural, the normals.
It's a counter-argument to your definition, that to be different, to be not like the normal, the general run of things, the mainstream, is not necessarily an impairment, that particular adjective carries a certain sort of moral weight.
The majority of our quotations are of studies of normal people versus people with some kind of condition or impairment.
This redefinition is something more of an interpretation. I'd argue that ours is essentially neutral. Your issue is not with the dictionary here, but with the people who use the language.